I'm going to wait a little bit before I go into the whole situation. So I'm going to get started because it's a week of Christmas, and unlike the trolls, I actually have a life. So I want to say Sunday, I tweeted out, and just for the reference, Avatar is out in movie theaters, and it's been a couple of days, right? So it's I said at some point we got to talk about the cultural appropriation of Avatar and white actors are cosplaying as people of color. It's just a mess and so not necessary. No amount of visual effects CGI is going to erase that. Bad lace fronts, dry synthetic braids. This is my sarcasm portion of the situation. And Jesus fix him. Then let me just say this. Who picked that up? Most people that know me and people that are friends with me owning, they all saw it and they were like, oh, people liked it and people really, really got what I was saying. So what is his name? A name by a conservative pundit, talking head by the name of Tim Young. Tim runs his mouth, screenshot the tweet, blocked me, and posted it. Now, Tim Young has how many followers? Let's see. He has 789,000.3K followers. What do you think was going to happen when he tweeted this, right? And he tweeted this and proceeded to say leftist film critics are now concerned about the cultural appropriation of the blue avatar thing. First of all, you don't even know if I'm leftist or right or whatever, because I don't. That's just crazy. But this is, again, we're talking about the group of people who claim to be about free speech, who claim to be for the Constitution, and this is how they operate, right? Within that, I started getting like hate mail and all of that. Within these last 2 days, The Blaze went with the lovely headline, said film critic locks down Twitter account of being mocked for saying white people portraying blue aliens in Avatar movie is cultural appropriation. That's Carlos Garcia. Carlos Garcia, who wrote this, does not have a social media profile. That tells you all you need to know. Most my colleagues, most of journalists, all have a public profile. You know where to find us. Not Carlos Garcia. Then we are next with Outkick, right? Outkick is Clay Travis, and this is a man who's made his money off of the backs of black athletes. He is a Trump supporter. He wanted people to play sports, football specifically, during the pandemic because he wasn't making any money. Excuse me. And he had a lot to say about Colin Kaepernick, but he will tell you all day, every day that he's not a racist because he voted for, Obama. He gave for Obama. And of course, when you vote for a black guy, you can't be racist. Then Fox News, this is Lindsay Cornick, who has an account on Twitter, but she hasn't tweeted, I want to say, in like 2 years, right? Claims in ridiculed tweet. The way that the trolls have found me, all these journalists could have reached out, so-called journalists could have reached out for a comment, but they didn't, because that's what they do. They don't have. That's what they do. They're in a clickbait society. They want to click everything. And this is what they do. The Daily Mirror Daily Mail UK. This is Jennifer Smith, chief reporter for dailymail.com. She also has no public profile. So again, this is how they operate in order for them to be able to write this clickbait material. And mind you, this is a week of Christmas, but all of this is people like, I'm trying to advocate for blue people. I am a racist. And let's talk about the terminology racist, right? Black people can't be racist because we are not in a position of authority. We don't control media. We don't control legislature. We don't control government. So we can be prejudiced, but we can't be racist. It's two different terminologies, right? And this is really sad that people don't know the difference. Also, woke, right? That's something that comes from slang, and white people, not all, but a good portion of right pundits have picked that up whenever they want to make fun of people advocating for equality, equal rights, or bringing awareness to things that, used to be able to get away with, such as sexism, homophobia, transphobia, and the list goes on and on, right? So they're like, you're being woke. The woke mob is out for me. You know what I mean? Like Charles Harley, when he was up there inciting insurrection, that he lost his book deal. The woke mob is out there for them, and to show you how juvenile these people are. People have stolen pictures of my Instagram to post when they say my forehead is big, to say that trying to call me fat. I'm a woman in entertainment journalist. Do better. Like, really do better. I've been called the N-word by 4 people. I've had 40 emails by people calling me the C word, right? And the list goes on and on. I just want to say that if I would have done such a thing, people would try. I mean, they're already trying to, but unsuccessfully, ruin my business, ruin everything. You know what I mean? And this is the type of behavior that these people participate in. And to show you that it is a concentrated media, because CBS, NBC, not even the New York Post wrote about this. This is right-wing, nut job media. These folks don't practice journalism. And again, this is the same group of people that supported Megyn Kelly when she was out here saying that Santa Claus is white, that Jesus is white. She dedicated NewsHour to saying that Santa Claus is white and defending blackface. But let's get to the crux of what I meant, because again, I will link all the articles that help support for those of you that do reading, and I understand that everybody does. Here's the deal. James Cameron. This movie is political, even though it's make-believe people. For number one, if you haven't seen it, you might want to jump off, because I'm going to give you some spoilers. The Na'vi go from being tree people to being water people. And the water people are, again, indigenous, representative of indigenous. And it has a lot of talk and a lot of things about, and the environment, how we treat our earth, pollution, taking care of animals, not just hunting them for sport or whatever else you have there. All of that is addressed. And again, I get most people go to see a film just to be entertained, but that's not my job. My job, I am a film critic, whether you think that's a quack or whatever. I get to talk about the nuances of a film. I get to talk about whether or not a film works. I get to talk about what are the underlining messages in there. And if you sit down as a director of a movie and, talk about your influences being Native people, being people from Hindi, when you bring in a specialist who is hearing impaired to create a sign language to you, now you're no longer just dealing in the fantasy world, because you're using these symbolisms in order to tell a story. James Cameron has very much been open about it. And again, I will link those interviews in the situation in below to help you understand that this movie for him is also representation of North versus South, imperialism, colonialism, all those things. Are those things not political? They are. So all of these things are what he utilizes in the movie. The earthlings coming in, they used up their earth, and now they want to go and pollute these other people. They want to imprison, they want to colonize, they want to remove these people from their lands. That's all political. Now, I know that there are people of color in Avatar. I'm not an idiot. I know how to read IMB. But again, so let's go through it. The people of color, and most importantly, people of indigenous descent, because that's whose culture he stripped from in order to be inspired. And again, the hair, the nose. Again, I know Black people are not the only people that wear braids. Like, hello. But again, it means something different in African culture than it does in Viking culture. You know what I mean? And again, um, these are the same group of people that will tell you that when Black people, right now, I have my hair in braids, they will say, oh, it's not professional. You don't look professional. Are you going to do something with that? But then want to be like, oh, I have the freedom to, you know what I mean? I should be able to wear my hair anywhere I want to. It's just a hairstyle. Well, you can't have it both ways. Either you think it's crap or you think it's freedom of expressing yourself with your hair. Let's talk about the people of color that are in this. Zoe Saldana, of course, she's an Afro-Latina. She's Dominican and Puerto Rican. Hello. Vin Diesel he's not credited with a person, so I don't quite know him. I know who Cliff Curtis is. I first came across Cliff Curtis on a movie called Once We Were Warrior. It's a great film. You should look it up. He gives a really compelling performance. He actually is someone of indigenous background, right? Michelle Yee is a woman of color. She's Asian, right? So then you have Michelle Rodriguez was not in this. If she's in this, I don't remember her being in it. The movie was 3 hours. Like, give me a break. So we look at this woman, Ona Castillo Chaplin. She's in it, but she's Spanish. I'm sorry, Spanish people are not people of color. She's European. Moving on. Then there is a young lady by the name of Trinity Bliss, right? Who does she play? She plays the youngest daughter, right? She's an American actress. I want to say, let's see, let's what her IMB is. Let's not make things up. She's American actress. She is the granddaughter of Sonia Ray Garcia. So most likely she looks like she may be, based upon this, she may be Latina. So you have this person. Then you have, let's see here. Okay, Jamie Flatters is not a person of color, but bless his heart, though. I'm sure he did a good job. Then he plays Netam. Then Philippe Quejo is a person of color. He portrayed Unknown. And then Britton Dalton is Loic. Britton is not a person of color. Bailey Bass is a person of color. She played the daughter from the two, from Tonari and Ronald. That's who she played. And Wes Studi's in there, but he's not credited as someone. He is a person of color. And then Chloe Coleman, not a person of color. Well, she might be biracial, but you know what I'm saying. So, and then Laz Alonso, who was in the last one, is not really in this one. Cece Pounder is a person of color. She portrayed Moat, and then you have Keston John, who's Varu, and you have Dwayne Witcham Evans, who's Roxo, right? But the point is, there's an opportunity if you're saying I'm taking from this. And also in 2009, we'll link that article again as well. There was conversation about appropriation. 100% was a conversation about appropriation. But we didn't have social media as we know it, like Twitter and all of those things. So again, we've had a lot of discussions in 2020 in wake of what happened with George Floyd. Studios committed, including Disney, put up the black square. Everybody's at the hashtag and saying we are committed to having more diversity, to being more authentic in our storytelling. Again, I know this is fictional, but the same people who are coming into my mentions, who are talking crazy about the fact that these are blue people, had a complete total meltdown about The Little Mermaid and saying that mermaids can't be black. They have a meltdown about Hamilton, by the founding fathers being played by black and brown people. when people are saying it's an interpretation of art, it's a way of bringing in, that community into the theater community. Oh, no, 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 you can't say that. You can't do that. Okay. And people totally admit it. And Lin-Manuel Miranda took a lot of heat when he didn't cast more diverse people for In the Heights. He was an adult. He apologized. He owned it. But James Cameron very much has said this is where he's taking his influences from. And even now with the second one, people are like, it's too woke. It's too much, you know what I mean? And I'm looking for it now because I want to make sure I say this, intelligently, Okay. Okay, the New York Post, actually, I cannot even believe that the New York Post wrote a much more together article than The Blaze. But here we go. The Avatar, The Way of Water director 68 is accused of stealing themes, history, and imagery from Native American indigenous cultures for his latest blockbuster. This harkens back to the Newsweek report, right? Which was done on 12/19/22. But again, none of the right-wing nutbags had anything to say about Newsweek writing about it. I'm going to link this nice little article here. I also linked it in my Instagram stories. Director James Cameron is facing allegations of Native American indigenous cultural appropriation over the themes and imagery in his latest blockbuster, Avatar: The Way of Water. The follow-up to his 2009 film, Avatar, which is the highest grossing movie in history. Like its predecessor, the sequel centers on a story about colonizers taking over land from tribes. In Cameron's telling, the colonizers are humans who need a new inhabitable planet because Earth's resources are becoming increasingly depleted. Also, like its predecessor, the new Avatar film is being accused of using an amalgamation, excuse me if I mispronounce it, of the histories of various indigenous culture for a film that features a largely white cast. Let me say it a little louder for the people in the back. For a film that features a largely white cast, which is what I was saying with my tweet. I only have 250 characters, right? Notable exceptions in the casting include, one more time for the people, totally going to link this, includes Zoe Saldana, a Black Latina actress, and Cliff Curtis, who is of Maori descent. Among those upset by Cameron's film is Yui Begay, a Native American influencer and co-chair of Indigenous Pride LA. How come these two morons that decided to put my information over the internet didn't have any smoke for him? Anybody out here got something to say for that? No. Do not watch Avatar: The Way of Water, Big Ed wrote on Twitter. Join natives and other indigenous groups around the world in boycotting this horrible and racist film. So this is not advocating for blue people. This is saying you're still, and also let me break down what cultural appropriation is. Nobody has a problem with you being influenced, with you, taking something from somebody, or, and anything. It's when you steal from a culture, you pass it off and you make money and you don't give credit or you don't give back to that culture. That's what it is. You know what I mean? My example, when a Black woman wears her hair like I'm wearing mine and you go to work and somebody says, oh, this is cute, but it's not professional. A white woman comes to work and her hair is braided. Oh, it's so cute. It's so innovative. You're so fashion forward. That is considered, okay, that's the double standard. They want to see this culture. When people are saying you're cultural appropriating, saying you like this culture, but you don't like it on the people that created it and originated it. And hence, you all like Native American culture on blue people, but you don't like it on Native Americans. Hence, you don't want to teach it in schools. Hence, you're still running around telling people that Columbus discovered America, and the list goes on and on. We do not teach the truth about indigenous people, their plight, how we've treated them, and how they came to be where they are today. We don't teach it because, again, some of you not show up in your school board meetings and you're saying, CRT, we don't want our kids to be made to feel like they're bad white people. But at the same token, what about the native kids who have been told that they've been savages, that their language is savagery, and that they needed to be, they needed to have the savagery beaten out of them? What about them? Don't they matter? And again, Newsweek, which is a reliable news source, wrote an article, but none of these dimwits had anything to say about Newsweek, because Newsweek, unlike me, has a powerful force behind them. They have media. They can go in and they can fight a lot harder. It's just me over here in my home office talking about this, fighting back, right? And if you look at the full conversation on Twitter, right, what this woman is talking about, then you have people saying underneath her mentions, thank you for this list. I'm purchasing some of these books right now as a present. She mentions a bunch of books. Here it goes. Join Natives and other indigenous groups. And I'll put a link, her information as well. Join Natives and other indigenous groups around the world in boycotting this horrible and racist film. Our cultures were appropriated in a harmful manner to satisfy some white man savior's complex. No more blue-faced Lakota people are powerful. That's what she wrote. You know what I mean? And she said, thank you for this. And then also, why did he not hire? Someone else wrote exactly what I said. Also, why did he not hire more indigenous actors or people of color to represent and show homage? Because clearly the Na'vi are a blend of many indigenous cultures. The fact that you have white actors putting on ethnic accents, which they do, I mean, if you're going to play a character and you all saying blue people aren't real, why do you have to make up some ridiculous accent, right? The fact that you have white actors putting on ethnic accents that are meant to sound indigenous just felt wrong to me. Why? Where is this outrage for these people? Because again, it's coming from a Black woman, and these bros have a problem that is going on the internet, and that I tweeted it, and it's killing them, and I love it. I literally cannot even put all the screenshots of all the voice actors for the Na'vi. You are just so wrong in this. There is every single different kind of person of color voice acting for the Na'vi. Again, you're missing the point. You took from indigenous people. You're saying that this is your inspiration for these characters. Then why not hire? If you do a study of Native American actors, no one is more overlooked and underrepresented in Hollywood than Native actors. They could have used the paycheck like heck, put them on. I mean, you all came to see the movie. All of you are fans of the film. You didn't come to see Kate Winslet. Let's stop it. Nobody came to see Kate, and I have nothing against Kate. She's an amazing actor. But for this particular thing, the first thing that drew you to the theaters are the freaking special effects. And by the way, I said in my review, and I will link that as well, that they're freaking awesome. The special effects, the visuals are amazing. But at the end of the day, in order for you as a critic to judge a film, it's not a silent film. We didn't turn off the dialogue and the sound. You still have to tell a good story, and you still somewhat have to be authentic at the core of it, even when you are operating in the world of make-believe. That's like, even, if you go to see The Little Mermaid, you expect Ariel to be able to know how to sing. Hello, it's a musical. And then, here come all the woke bros. Is this true? I'm open-minded. I'm going to watch a movie about blue aliens in another dimension. Again, funny thing is, the Na'vi are portrayed as noble people that just want to live in peace. The big bad humans are the ones trying to destroy them. The white savior realizes how wrong his people are and joins them. Again, people of color are tired of, in order for them to win, in order for their cause to be taken seriously, that a white person has to step in and navigate and do the interpretive dance. I'm not even going to get into how problematic the character of Spider is. You can judge that for yourself. You know what I mean? No, I mean, but what did you say here? It said their English isn't their native language. Of course, they're going to have an accent. No, if it's make believe, right? Cliff didn't speak with an accent. He didn't. He spoke as himself. Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, hey, yeah, 21. Cliff spoke as himself. He didn't put on some accent. I'm sorry. He didn't. If I try to speak, I would have an accent. I do speak Spanish, by the way, fluent Spanish. And if I try to speak Spanish, I would pronounce the word the way it is supposed to be pronounced. That's how I would pronounce the word. I wouldn't over exaggerate the words in Spanish. I wouldn't be like sin. I wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? That's not necessary in order for me to be able to speak the language. I'm being right now catching up. Anybody can definitely be racist. Prejudice is recognized if you act on it. No, the act of racism, Blue Beat, is about power, right? But you're correct. Anybody can be prejudiced. Like Black people can be prejudiced against white people, but Black people can't be racist towards white people because racism involves power play. And we are not in the position of authority. We only represent 18% of the 12% of the population. We don't rule government. We don't rule businesses. We don't rule industry. Even hip hop, we're not in charge of that medium, even though we created it. So that's the difference between prejudice and racism. You know, racism includes a power struggle where I can prevent you from living your best life. Prejudice is me saying I don't like you simply because of the color of your skin or your religion, your sexuality, whatever you have there. You know, my not liking you doesn't keep you from being great, doesn't keep you from having a job or buying a house. You know what I mean? That's the difference. And again, I really wish we would teach that properly in schools, but we do not, because sadly, we are right now where we're in the burning book stage of it. What am I missing them? And again, everyone matters equally. Everyone matters equally. It is not, everyone does not, yes, you're correct. Everyone does matter differently. You know what I mean? But again, if you have an accent, right, when you speak, it's a natural accent. But in this particular movie, Kate's accent is some made up mumbo jumbo. It is not a natural accent. So hence, again, there are plenty of native actresses that could have used the check and would have done an amazing job. And that's what she's saying. That's what I'm saying. Again, there is a problem when you say you're taking for a culture. And again, we have these actors out here, you know, and I get it. James Cameron and Kate Winslet, they have a relationship because of Titanic. They're friends. And she was like, oh, my friend asked me to do this movie. Let me do it. But there's a lack of self-awareness by certain people in Hollywood. You know, it just is, you know, and that's what it is. And, you know, then it says here, Jake is saved by the Navi, not the other way around. Not in this movie, but this is where we are. You know what I mean? We do not want to take it. But getting back to this Newsweek article, you know, and it's in here. Also, again, we'll link all of this and you all can read it if you choose to. But what we're not going to do is act like Kaki is making stuff up when there is stuff out here for it. You know what I mean? Everyone in her Bank referenced a 2010 Cameron interview in The Guardian with Cameron. Other social media also cited an interview, and it's Dead End Society, which caused controversy of the Canadian filmmaker when it was in an interview. Cameron described visiting the Brazilian Zulu people in the Amazon and spoke of the Native American inspiration for making the first Avatar. They're Brazilian indigenous actors. I'm Brazilian. Again, if you're using them for, again, oh, hell yes. But all of the references are from real life. You know, there are plenty of cartoons and plenty of make-believe that's out there, and you don't reference anything. But again, all fantasy is sourced from reality in order for it to be relatable. Some reason. This is, again, in the interview, Cameron described visiting the Brazilian Xingu people. This was a driving force for me in the writing of Avatar. I couldn't help but think if they, the Lakota Sioux, had a time window and they could see the future, they could see their kids committing suicide at the highest suicide rates in the nation because they were hopeless and they were a dead-end society, which is what is happening now. They would have fought a lot harder. This is him talking about it, that he is taking the the inspiration from Native people. And again, I've been a film critic for quite some time, for over a decade now, and I've never ever said you shouldn't see a movie. But the issue that I'm having is, you know, you don't have to agree with my opinion when I review a film. I've always ended things when I said things like, just because it didn't work for me is it is appropriation is when the people that you're taking from don't benefit financially or get credit. That is appropriation. When you have a problem with it on the originators, but you're comfortable with it in blue people, but you're not comfortable with it in real native people. The same people that say it's blue people, Chubby Knees, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, are calling real native people ignorant, savages, and the list goes on and on. Therein lies the problem. But they're calling this innovative because they're comfortable seeing it in blue people with tails. Like, make it make sense. It doesn't. But the bottom line is that we're living in a society right now, and you don't have to agree with my point of view. I don't need you to be group thinkers. But what I will not have is me being personally attacked, people calling me out my name because because I tweeted something that is totally a legit criticism and you don't like it in the packaging that it came, right? In the last 2 days, I've had 100 emails sent to my website of people just literally harassing me. I don't have my cell phone on my website, so when people are calling, good luck. You're not going to get me. And the list goes on and on. That's perfectly not okay. I am a journalist. I have bylines. I've been doing this for a minute. And I've had people, be aggressive and all that. That's cool. Whatever gets you off your chest. But there are boundaries that you don't cross. And we live in a society where people use your imaging, say things about you that aren't accurate, don't even try to fact check, send it out into the world, and the nutbags follow. That's where we are. You know what I mean? That's really where we are. And so I've had to really be strategic with what I post. Thank God no one has tried to contact my family. You know what I mean? Hi, Michelle Lee. I appreciate you. But thank God no one has reached out. You know what I mean? I am a mother. I have a family. No one, thank God, has done that. But some of these emails, I'm not gonna give these people the shine and read any of them, but I have them in the little folder just in case things do go south. You know what I mean? And no, anybody can't be a journalist. You know what I mean? Just because someone has a microphone and is on the internet doesn't make them a journalist. What makes me different is that I have an editor, I have people who fact check me, I have people that don't let me talk crazy in these streets and make sure that although when I'm expressing my opinion that it is based on something, it is not just a personal vendetta. Therein lies the difference. And these folks don't have anybody to fact check them. They are just angry. They are angry because they are fearful that they're not going to be in the majority anymore. They are angry that anybody, and dare I say, that isn't white and straight. They are angry at women. They are angry at LGBTQIA people. They really, 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 really do not like anybody that doesn't think like them, like them. And mind you, these are the first group of people say, what happened to freedom of speech? What happened to the Constitution? The Constitution protects freedom of speech and it protects freedom of speech, doesn't protect freedom speech that you like. Hence, you can say vile, super racist things, in this country. It does come with consequences. You can't run into a quiet building and scream fire and cause hysteria. The Supreme Court ruled on that. There is free speech, but some of that free speech comes with consequences. And it doesn't give you the right to go after someone. And that's fine, Jimmy, if that's how you feel. But you know what? You're going to be really, really upset because there are a lot of people on Rotten Tomatoes that said what I said is, and maybe don't read Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, it's super easy as that. You do not, if you something doesn't agree with your point of view, don't read it. I don't agree with Fox News. I don't watch Fox News. It's simple as that. Why would I give time and energy to something that doesn't align with my beliefs? Simple as that. You are not. So if you decide to watch Fox News and if you decide to read Rotten Tomatoes critics, you can't be mad at what's coming across your feed because that's a decision that you made. It's simple as that. Again, I'm not upset at anybody not agreeing with my point of view, but I do think that, just because you don't agree with someone's point of view doesn't give you the right to harass them. Like that's crazy. You know what I mean? That's unhinged behavior. People creating accounts to follow me so they can tweet at me. People create, and if I block them, then they create a different account, and you can see that the account was just they're paying to get a blue check. That's unhinged behavior. You're sat in your house for 2 hours straight and created new accounts. You paid money to have a blue check to follow me. Like, I did not realize that my tweet got people so off their rocker. Never. I mean, it's just, go take a breather, go outside and touch some grass. If I made you that upset, go address that hurt in therapy. Please do. I should not have that type of power over your thinking. You know what I mean? And again, if you think, if that's your, again, if that's how you feel, Joe, that's how you feel. I disagree. I state what I stated. I have things to back it up. And then I guess you'd have a problem with it. So maybe you may not want to read the Newsweek article because I feel like you would have an issue with that as well. You know what I mean? Again, if you don't like something, don't support it. Don't read it. Don't follow it. Let it go. Right? If you don't like a certain food, do you eat it? Is that what you do? Is that what you folks do? No, you don't eat it. You're like, that's my issue. I'm not going to eat it. But again, I just wanted to come on here because, again, everyone has spoken about me, for me, said things, and the list goes on, and painted me as a raging lunatic, as a racist, which I think is hilarious because the people that are calling me racist are probably the most racist people. Like, really. You're talking like 2 steps below the KKK. You know what I mean? Like, really, with their politics, these are strong MAGA people. One guy wrote that Trump is going to have a 3rd term, and there's no reasoning with that. People are like, why don't you engage? I don't owe anybody an engagement. I write what I write. You read it if you choose to. It either works for you or it doesn't. Keep it moving. Because once I send something out, I'm on to the next project. And that's just really where I'm at. I do appreciate the people that have been supporting the channel. We've had an amazing channel. This year, we've gotten to talk to a lot of really great people. I have some interviews that I'm dropping on Friday for the Whitney Houston movie. I Want to Dance with Somebody. They're now calling it the Whitney Houston story, even though, like, I think most of us would know that's Whitney Houston, right? I have some stuff coming for Jack Ryan. I have some stuff coming for National Treasure and the new Disney show. Some interviews with that. And I appreciate the people that are the supporters. I'm going to be doing a giveaway because it's award season and I've gotten some cool things. If you guys are interested in something like that, let me know. Say it in the comments. I want to have I don't just want to come on here and talk about the craziness in the world. I want us to have positive engagement. I appreciate every single one of you that has signed up, that have supported. And I do encourage you to go see Avatar. It is 3 hours. It's not a long, like Babylon is a long 3 hours. You know what I mean? Like a really long 3 hours. But it is visually stunning. If you are somebody that's sensitive to if you're somebody sensitive to like colors and things like that, you may not want to see it in 3D. because it is very pixel in a lot of things, and I know some people suffer from that. Do I approach every movie focusing on race? No. Again, if you, but you already said, I believe it's you, you don't like Rotten Tomatoes. There's a lot of movies that I approach by race. No, but I'm a Black woman. That's my point of view. I see the world through this lens. You know what I mean? Again, you are not required to read anything I write. But if you do so, don't be shocked if it involves people of color that I speak about that point of view, you know. And no, I do not give every movie made by Black people, a good review. Again, if you look under my Rotten Tomatoes profile, there are plenty of Black films that I've been like, it's a no for me, you know. Another film that I enjoyed thoroughly is The Menu. Believe it or not, that stars predominantly all white people. Ray Fiennes is amazing as a chef. Like it's a good time. If you like things a little bit off the cuff, cray in a fun way, go see that film. You know what I mean? So that's it. Any other questions or concerns? I really hope everybody has a good holiday. You know, I know 2022, we're still trying to figure out. Nobody's saying 2023 is going to be our year. We said it for the last 2 years, has been caca. But I hope everybody has a really nice and blessed holiday. You know what I mean? I appreciate you taking the time out. It's 41 minutes, a little longer than I wanted to chat. And, you know, again, I am going to be doing a giveaway because we had a really, really great year. I'll do a movie bundle of like a DVD and some candy and some other things, you know, so you can have movie night at the house. And I appreciate the support. I even appreciate the people that don't agree with me. You kept it, um, you know what I mean? You kept it respectful, you know, and that's all I ask. And again, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you. And I hope you have an amazing and blessed year.